Huh? Good luck. Oh yeah, I'm loving it.
Testing, testing. Please welcome onto the floor your 10th ranked Southern Virginia Knights. We welcome everyone to the Knight Arena for tonight's main volleyball match. Knights of Neumann University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. President Wilcox and the Southern Virginia staff, thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. In the spirit of good sportsmanship, they ask you to respect the following Southern Virginia athletic rules. Cheer loudly and proudly for your team, not against the visitors. No profanity, vulgarity, racist, or sexist remarks. No personal remarks towards players, coaches, or officials. Show that you know the game. Stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Zero tolerance for alcohol and tobacco use at all contests. Thank you for your cooperation, and go Knights! In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by Kimberly Zemp.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're very grateful for this day. We're thankful that we have the opportunity to come and watch a good volleyball match. We're thankful that the team was able to travel here safely, even though we had a lot of rain. We're very grateful for the moisture in this earth. We're very grateful for the ability we have to play volleyball and the blessing that it can be in our lives. Please bless both teams that they will play with safety today and that the game will go well. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Now, if you'd all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem. And now, for the introduction of the lineups for tonight's
You are sitting in the best season house, and we are thrilled to join you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Fly alongside Dawson Weidrich. We welcome you to the barn. Dawson, we have the matchup. Two Knights team, of course, the Knights of Southern Virginia, ranked 10th in the nation, going up against the Neumann Knights.
Yeah, it's a medieval battle. I mean, the Neumann Knights are coming into the Knights castle, basically. It's the barn, but it's their castle. We'll call it that. This will be a very fun match, and we have the starters here for Neumann. That's Jules Mariano, Connor Kolick, Ryan Bollinger, Roddy Roundtree, Zach Strickland, and Eric Van Horn. And this is a very new program. This Neumann University men's volleyball team is only in its second season of existence. Last season going 0-22 as a new team, and this season picking up the first two wins in program history.
And also knows the last two wins, the first two wins rather, for this Neumann program, coming in their last two games. Before coming up here against Southern Virginia Knights, they faced off against Alvernia University, or rather Pratt Institute and Sarah Lawrence College, where they picked up their two wins, like you said, in the program history.
And now your starters for your Southern Virginia Knights. First one is Mark Stapley, number 4, the man from California. He has a calm, collected presence out there in the court. And Taylor Bowers, number 6. And the next one, Colby Wilson. He is quite the spark plug of energy. He's in there every single play that goes for the Knights. He's just yelling, screaming, hooting, hollering. I mean, volleyball's an exciting sport, but he doubles that excitement when he's on the floor. And at libero number 14, yeah, you got Daniel Aina. He does a great job, great with assists, just does a great job overall. And then Cooper Anderson, another starter for the Knights. And then number 32, Elijah Mowry. Elijah did a great job filling in for when now Rick Barn was struggling with injuries. And number 95, Anatella Fanua. And actually, Andrew Fanua was one of our broadcasters for one of our women's volleyball games early on in the year, so good to see familiar faces getting the start tonight.
Was a member of the Knights Sports Network at one time, but now suiting up for the Southern Virginia Knights. And Dawson, we'd be disingenuous to say if this, for the Southern Virginia Knights, isn't really not as much of a practice, but a game where they don't have to worry as much. You're going up against a very new program. Knights ranked 10th in the nation. Right there we saw the starters. Not a lot of starters that we've seen throughout this season. Noel Rekabaran not getting the nod today. Cougar Clark not in, amongst others. But it's an opportunity for Tom Peterson and his crew to get those guys that maybe don't get as much playing time in those tight situations in the game and get them that experience. Any
experience you can get for young guys and young players, like you said, that don't get much time, is valuable. Every single second that they can have on the floor can help build them in their further years at Southern Virginia University. So it should be a very exciting opportunity for them to get this start. And for some of them, their first start in NCAA men's volleyball.
I know it's the first start, at least for number 6, Taylor Bowers, the middle blocker sophomore from Portland, Oregon. Also joining him as first start, number 15, Cooper Anderson. We've seen Cooper Anderson throughout this season. He usually comes in as a designated hitter, or he just serves the ball in those tight situations. But today, getting the nod to have his place on the floor on Tom Peterson's squad. So it's a really interesting matchup between two teams here. We see what these Knights players that maybe don't get the time they'd like to see throughout the season do in their moment to shine.
Ryan, talking about the new program of Neumann University, they're 2-8 on the season, like we said, getting their first 2 wins in program history in the past 2 games. Whereas the Knights, 10th ranked in the nation, 11-1, and have just been doing a lot of great things. I mean, a lot of the sets have been very close with some teams that maybe shouldn't have been close, but they've always been able to pull it out. That's been a very big difference compared to last season. There were some situations in last season where they wouldn't have that clutch gene, but this season they have.
And right off the bat, Southern Virginia gets on the board.
Cooper Anderson.
And Cooper Anderson doing what he does best, what Tom Peterson loves to put him in for. First service for Southern Virginia.
That's it.
It'll fall in, so Southern Virginia Knights pick up a second straight point.
That's something that's not uncommon to see in a volleyball game. It's the first serve, get the jitters out of the way, hit a little bit further than you really need to. And so that's exactly what happened there with number 15, Cooper Anderson.
Dawson would have there with Cooper Anderson was the Southern Virginia Knights called themselves out of rotation. Cooper Anderson not being the one that was supposed to serve there. So they'll take a point off of Southern Virginia scorecard and put it on to Neumann. Just Southern Virginia not coming in with their heads screwed on just as tight as maybe Tom Peterson wanted them to. So point goes to Neumann, and now the Neumann Knights with an opportunity back to score.
Point goes to Neumann.
We have another insertion for the Neumann Knights lineup, number 9. That is Kyle Slinkman for serving.
Andrew Pernua trying to get fancy instead of setting the ball up for one of his hitters. Likes to hit it on over, falls out of bounds. Point goes to Neumann. And Dawson, with Southern Virginia and Coach Tom Peterson, your team has reached really those lofty expectations with being top 10 ranked in the nation. You have these great players that help you get there, but it really is a team effort, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, you have different players contributing all over the place. I mean, you have great sets, from Kaipo Takaloa, and then you have Cougar Clark, and then you have now Rick Abar and all these different players, as well as Colby Wilson. You have a lot of great leadership, a lot of experience on a team that has seen success in recent years and building on that. And like saw right there, Colby Wilson. Just great plays like that really have set them apart from other teams the past few seasons.
And Colby Wilson spiking that one down, the senior from Saugus, California. In the last game against Marymount, Colby Wilson had an absolute ball of a game, hitting well into 700 hitting percentage, just everything falling his way. In that last game against Marymount, with Southern Virginia picked up the win. The senior from California, when called upon, always delivers like he did just there. Colby Wilson adding another one to his stat sheet and bringing Southern Virginia up 4-2 over top of Neumann.
You hear all the cries for Wilson from the SVU bench, getting excited about Colby Wilson's success.
And serve from Andrew Fanua goes out of bounds, so point goes on the board for Neumann. Now back to serve for them. Number 5, this is Connor Kolick. Connor Kolick, a freshman outside hitter from Bear, Delaware.
Oh, that ever-tricky ceiling that tends to mess with people that come into Knight Arena, not used to the low ceiling. Of course, the Knights, on the other hand, practice with it every day.
Practice with it every day, and you saw as soon as that happened, fans here at Southern Virginia started chanting, "Welcome to the barn," some popular chant here at Southern Virginia. Really is a tough environment to play at as an opposition. Like you mentioned, that ceiling always getting in the way, and Knights having to practice with it all the time. Just a tricky place to play and a tricky place to keep the momentum. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia is Colby Wilson. That blocked down, but combination number 32, Elijah Mowry and Cooper Anderson both are going to hand on that one. So Southern Virginia pulls ahead 7-3, and Colby Wilson have another chance back at service for Southern Virginia.
And that was just way too soft of a hit by Eric Van Horn for Neumann. He tried to get it up, but number 32, like I said, just put it straight back down, knew exactly where it was going, made it way too predictable. And, of course, give the Knights the easy point.
Southern Virginia picks up another service ace. It's now 2 on the night, and that third service from Colby Wilson goes long.
Eric Van Horn serving.
Hit too hard over by Aina, but Knights get another opportunity at attack. Stapley just hitting that one over.
And the Knights very fortunate with that first hit going over. Usually that's a sign to a point for the other team automatically. Like any other team just puts it straight down, but of course Neumann not able to quite get that opportunity, and the Knights were able to reverse the situation on them.
Last point on the board goes to Knights sophomore Cooper Anderson to bring Southern Virginia up 9-4. See Elijah Mowry getting to serve. And Dawson, we saw Elijah Mowry 2 games ago here at Knight Arena, had a whale of a game. Usually doesn't get the nod to start from Coach Tom Peterson, but when he's in, he always seems to affect the game positively for both himself and his teammates.
Well, he definitely does. I mean, he's got the size. He's 6'5", 175. He's not a huge size guy. He's tall. He's lanky. He's got the great reach to get those kills and to get blocks. And so he's got that athletic ability. And he's a younger player, and he's getting that experience. And you're absolutely right. When he filled in for Nalva Kabaran, he went in there, and it was like nothing changed. You know, he's familiar with his teammates. He's got that chemistry. And I think he's going to be a great benefit to this Knights team in the years to come.
Absolutely will be. And to say that you can come in for Noel Rekabarn, one of the top players in the nation here for the Southern Virginia team, just a huge boost of confidence for someone like Elijah Mowry, and especially for an underclassman that'll hopefully be with Tom Peterson in Southern Virginia for a long time to come.
Great block by both number 4 Mark Stabley and Taylor Bowers. That was just impressive.
We mentioned the block, Dawson. What about the dig by number 9 Kyle Schlinkman? On that last play, you see Southern Virginia spiking down again. That's number 6 Taylor Bowers getting his name on the scorecard. We mentioned the dig by number 9 Slinkman. Just couldn't get his hands on that last one from Bowers. Cooper Anderson getting that one to fall for Southern Virginia, looking right next to number 9 Kyle Slinkman. That's where the Knights have been focusing their attacks between the libero and Slinkman, right there, really at center court.
And that's kind of a tough hit, too, when you're just behind the front line. That hit right there, it's very hard sometimes to estimate how far you have to hit that. And so he did a great job at doing that just now.
Just the number 17, the libero, Dalton Valentine for Neumann, pointing up at the ceiling, saying that one got a hold of it and threw me off just a little bit, trying to explain to his coach, Joan Braid, what happened on that last one. Great dig. Colby Wilson able to get down. Not known for his digging ability, but being shown evident there. Hit back in. Anderson to get that one over, but it goes long. So Neumann gets on the board to bring it 5-15. This seems like a while since we've seen Neumann put one on the score sheet, Dawson.
That's just a great rally right there by both teams. And you saw a block by number 2 Jules Mariano of Neumann College, and he only stands at 5'10", so for him to get up there and get that block was extremely impressive and allowed Neumann to stay in that rally.
Dawson, you mentioned the height of some of these players for Neumann. Their tallest player clocking in right around 6'3". That's Cash Nzangi. Much different compared to the Knights roster, where their tallest player clocking at a whopping 6'10", that being Tyler McCready, the crossover player playing basketball and now volleyball for Southern Virginia.
And that height is an absolute advantage. I mean, you see on your screen right now, compared number 2, Jules Mariano, and then number 6, Taylor Bowers, just the difference there and the advantage that gives the Knights already. And so, again, the Knights just need to take advantage of that. And, again, being the great team that they are, just continue to play the way they've been playing so far.
Great hit over. Cooper Anderson saw the hands of number 2, Jules Moriano, and number 13, Roddy Roundtree. Knew he couldn't get it over that, so just tried to pop it over, get it right between the defense to put another one on the scoreboard for his name and for Southern Virginia. Served by Stapley, goes into the net. So Neumann now pulls it 7-17. Back to serve for them is number 11, Ryan Bollinger, the junior from Woodland, Pennsylvania. That's Bowers putting another one to his name. Dawson, Bowers having a game right now.
He really is, and that's one of the plays that is where he set up to where you can get a running start, jump off of 1 foot off to the side, and it's such a hard angle to get a dig on. And they ran it to perfection that time.
Knights have another opportunity to tag. This time, Stabley not able to get it over. Dawson, you mentioned the ability by Southern Virginia to be able to run these plays that Coach Tom Peterson asked them with basic perfection. When you have players like Tiger Lowell, Rekka Barn, Cougar Clark, and like we've seen here, Taylor Bowers to be able to execute these plays, just such an asset for Coach Tom Peterson. And he has to consider himself lucky to have this plethora of talent here in Southern Virginia.
Well, absolutely does. And speaking of talent, you have number 11 coming in, and that's Bennett Camlin, another crossover athlete from the basketball team. And I talked to him just yesterday about being on the men's volleyball team, because this is his first season playing men's volleyball of any sort. And he was told the coaches approached him because he has such great jumping ability. He gets so high up, and he's known as a high flyer in basketball. When he gets in, he can really slam it home. And being asked to be on a team like he was, it just shows how much they respect his ability to get up and the potential he has as a volleyball player.
And we'll be watching closely to see if Bennett Camlin can make that impact, especially today against Neumann. Our eyes will be on him. But now back to serve for Southern Virginia, number 6, Taylor Bowers, who's having a whale of a game for himself so far. Leads the team in kills, has 3 on the night. Bennett Camlin trying to get that one over, but able to keep Southern Virginia alive and in it.
You hear the cries from the players here on SVU's bench. They want Bennett Camlin to get on the board just because, again, this is one of the few times he's been in all season. And he has a chance to get his first score as a night here at Knight Arena.
Southern Virginia picking up the block there. Andrew Pernua mixed up with Elijah Mowry, able to put that one down for Southern Virginia. And Dawson, you mentioned Bennett Camlin, you mentioned these crossover athletes like Tyler McCready. For them to be able to make an impact here on such a high-ranked team as Southern Virginia must mean so much to them. And it's really, I think, the first time we've seen Bennett Camlin here at Knight Arena in a Knights men's volleyball uniform. He definitely be looking to make his mark and get it done for his squad.
Definitely, again, being a first season, there's going to be growing pains for sure. But that's why you have games like this. We have a chance to show what you've made of, to show what you've learned so far. And also, again, we mentioned before, it gives some of these main starters a breather.
And it gives these starters an opportunity to be in a place where they don't find themselves too often, on the bench next to Coach Peterson, cheering on their guys as opposed to being the ones having the burden on their shoulders. And you can hear them in the air. They're having a whale of a time just there. We saw Cooper Anderson put one down. And all of these starters, all these upperclassmen that are usually on the floor for Coach Tom Peterson's squad, rooting them on and doing those cheers we know so well here at Southern Virginia.
And I love the effort from Kyle Slinkman of Neumann University. I mean, he dove as far as he could to the right side, got a little piece of it, but just not quite far enough.
That dig coming from Daniel Aina put too hard off his hands and went really into the scoreboard. Really interesting to see that from Aina. Aina, one of the staples of this Southern Virginia squad. He's ranked in the top 30 for digs per set. Really, he plays libero, which is defensive specialist anyway, but he really puts the namesake to work.
And we talk about Bennett Camlin. Now Tyler McCready is in. The 6'10". Gets his hand on that one, but of course that will count for Neumann. But again, a great first play for Tyler McCready in volleyball here at Knight Arena.
We know he wants that more than anything. Known for getting blocks on the basketball court, wants to do the same thing here in volleyball. And Tyler McCready gets his first points of his Southern Virginia volleyball career, spiking it through 2 Neumann players, number 15, Eric Van Horn, and number 14, Zach Strickland. So great to see Tyler McCready get on the board on his inaugural point and match here at the barn for Southern Virginia men's volleyball. Then Elijah Mowry putting one up on the board for Southern Virginia. And Dawson just saw there, Bennett Camlin serving for Southern Virginia. Great to see 2 teammates, 2 basketball teammates, Tyler McCready and Bennett Camlin, sharing the same floor once again, this time for Southern Virginia men's volleyball.
And of course that one just being a little bit short. See the point to Neumann University. And again, I love the chemistry that all these players have. You mentioned the starters on the bench cheering on their teammates. They don't care who's on the floor. They just care about each other succeeding and having a good time here at Knight Arena, especially a situation like this where you can put these players in.
And Cooper Anderson with another point for Southern Virginia. That one a smart one again, just tipping it over the hands of the middle blockers for Neumann and getting a point on the board for Southern Virginia. Cooper Anderson now takes the lead in blocks, or rather in kills for this game between both squads. He has 4 on the night. That hit by number 11, Ryan Bollinger, goes into the net. So Southern Virginia takes set 1 of what's really expected going up against Neumann. And Dawson, we took from that a lot of different players getting on the scorecard. Not one person standing out per se. Cooper Anderson 4 kills, Taylor Bowers 3 kills, Elijah Maurer having 2, and a number of other players having 1. So each player on this Knight squad really getting their due diligence, it seems like, so far.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I mean, again, you mentioned Newman's struggles this season and the Knights' chance to bring all these players, and that's, we mentioned before, this is exactly why they're in the game. For players like Taylor Bowers, Elijah Maurer, Cooper Anderson, Tyler McCready, Bennett Canlin to get in and have these opportunities to grow, to improve. Because there's only so much you can learn and do in practice. There's only so many drills you can do. There's only so many scrimmages you can have. But unless you experience the real thing, you're never going to get that full experience. And that's exactly what we're getting here today. And I also want to talk about one thing we noticed and talked about before the game was that in Neumann's games this season, none of them have been split sets. They have been sweeps either way. Either Neumann University has swept for their wins, the 2 wins they've had this season, or they've been swept. And so it's been interesting to see if Neumann University can have some fight back here in the second set and change that narrative.
They've had a struggle through their season so far, but they're riding a high right now. They're on a 2-game winning streak, the first 2 wins in program history. And just to be part of that, to be on this team for Neumann, you have to feel a special way. Because you look back at this program after you've graduated, after coaches have moved on, you'll think, I was part of the first squad here at Neumann. I was able to pick up a win for men's volleyball. How proud that'll make you in the end. I just want to give congratulations to all these players on Neumann for being part of a groundbreaking process at their respective university.
Absolutely. Every single team had a beginning. Every single team had their initial struggles. And, you know, anything's possible when it comes to Neumann University. In the coming years, they can become a big force in men's volleyball with a good recruiting. I mean, SVU men's volleyball hasn't been around that long either, and so that's a prime example of how fast you can build a program to be a top 10 team.
Everything has to start somewhere, Dawson. It must be exciting for Neumann fans all across to be able to watch this grow and see what it unfolds. And Dawson, you mentioned Southern Virginia not having this men's volleyball program for very long. Didn't come into their ascendancy until really about last year or even the year before. Last year, able to crack national rankings for the first time, moving up to number 4 in the nation. The Knights, not a young program, not as young as Neumann, obviously, but their rapid ascendancy, their rapid success coming under Coach Tom Peterson has really propelled them into the situation they're in today in the top 10 nationally. Looking to make the tournament this year, got knocked out last year before they could make it by Keene in what was a 5-set thriller. They'll be looking to have different success coming in this year. They're a force in the nation. Everything's on their side for Southern Virginia.
I mean, Coach Peterson knows what he's talking about. I mean, he has that one experience that we mentioned so many times in the broadcast. And, I mean, like you said, he's brought this team to a point where he has that chance to make the tournament. I mean, that's something that's unprecedented here at SVU. We've had successful teams, but, again, it's been a building process for all these teams here at Southern Virginia University for football, basketball, baseball, softball, men's and women's volleyball. Women's volleyball having a lot of success in recent years. And so, again, men's volleyball becoming part of that process like you talked about of improving and building and breaking those barriers year by year.
And also Southern Virginia men's volleyball has not only a chance to get into the tournament, but to make waves in the nation with their performance coming in an NCAA tournament.
And also, talking about people getting in for the first time this season, Christian Capisi getting into the game, number 18. He's been out for this entire season so far, and last year was an integral part of their success their whole season.
Christian Capisi been out so far this season. A little problem with his knees. We mentioned in the last broadcast when Southern Virginia faced off against Marymount that it was a day-by-day thing, and he was hoping to play as soon as this weekend. And here he is on the floor for the first time this season for Coach Tom Peterson's squad. Be interesting to see what he can do. He's a physical specimen, really. Christian Capisi, 6'7", knows volleyball in and out. Be interesting to see what kind of impact he can have here today. And it's good to see Coach Tom Peterson weaning him back into action coming in here against Neumann.
We'll have some things checked here at the scores table before we begin. Just make sure everything is accurate.
Okay, starting off for the Knights.
Starting off this second set, back to serve will be Knights number 15, Cooper Anderson. And Neumann gets on the board first. That kill coming from number 5, Connor Kolick, the freshman from Bear, Delaware, puts the first point up on the board for Neumann and the first point of this second set.
Well, that's a great kill. It was aimed right at the back line in a very awkward situation for to get to. And I mean, you saw number 14, Daniel Aina, try to go for that, but of course unable to.
Nice with a chance at attack. Able to stay in it, but it hit the ceiling on Newman's side of, really their side of the court. So Southern Virginia puts a point on the board now, 1-all in this second set.
Now the problem with that is when it hits the ceiling and it's right around the area where it can really go either way over the net, you have to call it out of bounds because there's no way you can justify a ball bouncing off the ceiling and somehow change its trajectory to go right over. And so that's what goes into that ruling.
Southern Virginia picking up another point there off the mistake for number 9, Kyle Slinkman. Dawson, not exactly sure what that was. Looked like Slinkman got his hands under there maybe a little bit too long.
Very possibly some discussion happening between the players of Neumann University and the refs.
Bauer serving.
Dig by Anderson off a great hit by number 6, Cash Izagi. Neumann not able to recover on that one. Southern Virginia picks up another point. We saw number 9, Slinkman, diving to try to pick up another dig for his name. Just couldn't get there, and Southern Virginia puts another one on the board.
And you know what? Slinkman's been putting forth a great effort so far in this game. A lot of things haven't gone his team's way, but he's diving all over the place. He's getting on the floor. He's doing the dirty work. And those situations where it's paid off.
Kolick's spike out of bounds. Point goes to Southern Virginia again. Southern Virginia now leading 4-1 over top of the Knights of Neumann. Service ace goes down. Number 6, Taylor Bowers, picking up another service ace for Southern Virginia. And Dawson, that brings Southern Virginia's service aces total to 5 in this game alone.
Well, he's been doing a great job, and it's been really difficult for Neumann University to get those digs and return it. And that was a really awkward situation for number 11, Ryan Bollinger. It's right in that range where it's right in between where you can bump it or set it. And it's such an awkward situation because if you try to set it, most often than not, the trajectory is going to go straight to the ground. If you try to bump it, you're going to bump it really high. And so there's really nothing he could have done there besides maybe have supersonic speed and move backwards or forwards.
And Andrew Fanua now at service. Andrew Fanua, a sophomore from Salt Lake City, Utah. Like you mentioned, Dawson, once was part of Night Sports Network, broadcasting women's volleyball of all things. So he knows his volleyball. He knows what to do there on the court as well.
He really does. He's just a pleasant guy overall. Very quiet, soft-spoken. But again, like I said, knows his stuff. He's just a great guy, great player.
Now back to serve for Neumann. This is number 12, Nick Shortledge. So Nick Shortledge picks up a service ace for Neumann. That's Neumann's first service ace of the night.
Service in. Point Neumann. Shortledge.
Some discussion between the SVU players and the refs trying to make sure that was the right call. And indeed it was.
Now Christian Capisi picking up his first points of the season wearing a Knights uniform. Like we mentioned before, he was out with injury for the beginning of the season, but able to come in now and put a point up on the board for Southern Virginia, making his impact right away.
And I love the patience that went into that. I mean, yes, it was a smart play, but for not playing all season long, your first instinct is want to just absolutely destroy the ball, get that beautiful kill out of the way. But he saw the opportunity for the soft tip over the front line, and he went for it.
Neumann having to 3 that one over. Couldn't get the job done. So point goes down for Southern Virginia. And Dawson, you mentioned Christian Capisi. We mentioned his first game back since injury. To have that patience to do so, the sophomore from American Samoa, always knowing what to do there on the court. A very experienced volleyball player, despite only being a sophomore and underclassman for this squad. And right there, getting his name on the board yet again in tandem with Elijah Mowry. So Capisi having 2 straight points, that one on a block.
And again, that's that length coming into play there. I mean, he's, when you look at him, he's 6'7". So I mean, doesn't quite reach up to Tyler McCready's height. But much like Michael Newfield on the men's basketball team, he's got that reach. He's got those long arms that are just almost impossible to get over in the right situation. And he just showed that right there.
Stapley still serving for
So Stapley will be back to serve for Southern Virginia, his second time at the line. So service ace goes down for Mark Stapley, and be another service ace for Southern Virginia. Brings their total now to, I believe, 8, Dawson.
Indeed, that is correct. And Neumann University only has 1 service ace so far.
Stapley having hit this one over. Stapley gets it to fall. Despite the efforts of number 11, Ryan Bollinger, to dive and risk his body to try to get to that one. Stapley puts another point up for Southern Virginia, and Southern Virginia take the lead now 12-4, running away in this second set.
And Stapley was backpedaling while he was hitting that too. Very off balance. Not able to get a full swing in there, but yet still able to get in the perfect place.
And that service by Stapley too long, so it gives the ball back to Neumann. We'll see some Neumann Knights getting ready to come on the floor now. This is number 14, Zach Strickland, and number 13, Roddy Roundtree. Zach Strickland, a freshman, standing at 6'3" from Claymont, Delaware. So his first service for Neumann now. That one, unfortunately, nailing number 2, Jules Moriano of Neumann, right in the back of the head. Not something you want to see if you're head coach Joan Brave.
You have to make sure he's okay after that one. That was a pretty solid hit to the back of the head.
That can end your night there, Dawson. You can black out after that one.
But it seems like he's doing okay.
Officials taking now to the scorer's table. Just having a chat with them. Quick point up for Neumann. That's number 2, Jules Moriano. So Dawson, it seems like he's all right. Took that serve to the back of the head and then comes back and has a really smart play for Neumann. It seems like his brain's still working fine.
Yeah, still has his wits about him for sure.
And just like that, Southern Virginia regains possession off the service error coming from Neumann. Now back to serve Christian Capisi. First time behind the line for Southern Virginia this season.
Or maybe it's like the rookie, the baseball movie with Jules Mariano. Maybe all of a sudden we'll start to see some comebacks from him. Not that time, but he did have a great play just then. That was
great play
nice.
at that time. Taylor Bowers getting the better of that matchup.
Block is out.
He got the better of the matchup, but he hit the ball out of bounds. That's my bad. Now back to serve for Neumann. Will be number 2, Joyce Moriano. Great dig by Aina. And Neumann gets on the board. I believe that came with the hands of number 11, Ryan Bollinger. So Neumann now brings it 8-14, and Moriano be back to serve for his second time in a row, despite the Knights' best efforts. Get to that last one.
And while harder serves are more impressive and usually more effective, it's very difficult sometimes to judge where the soft serves are going. Like that one was very short to left side and a very awkward position for anybody to get to. And so that's where where number 2, Jules Moriano, can really take advantage of that.
It's almost like in baseball where professional baseball players dealing with those 97-mile-an-hour fastballs. When they get a slow pitcher up, it's a little bit harder. Might be the same thing happening here with the Southern Virginia Knights.
Yeah, it throws off your rhythm. It's just very different compared to what you're used to. And like you said, it just throws you off.
Those are off right there. Christian Capisi, that spike going straight into the net. So Neumann picks up another point on the board. You got some players checking in for the Neumann Knights. Number 6, Cash Izagi, and number 9, this is Kyle Slinkman, will be back to serve for the Knights of Neumann. Slinkman, a sophomore, standing at 5'5" from Collegeville, Pennsylvania.
Ref's just correcting some things about the rotation here and substitution.
down on the board for number 6, Taylor Bowers. Sorry, Dawson, about that. Just a great play by Bowers.
Yeah, it was, and I was going to mention just another pin play. That time and time again from SVU, they love to run that. And they practice it so much, and that's why it works most of the time.
And that service from Bowers, too long. Point goes on the board for Neumann. And back to serve for them. This is number 5, Connor Kolick. Mark Stapley getting that one to fall for Southern Virginia. Hit it right into the hands of Slinkman. Too strong. Coming up hands of the sophomore from California. Now back to serve to Andrew Frenua for Southern Virginia.
Serving for the Knights.
Be a double hit called on, I believe that's number 5, Connor Kolick of Neumann. So point goes down for Southern Virginia. Another error, though, for the Knights of Neumann.
I want to point out how impressive, though, that pass was from number 6, Cash Esaki. He just had it was so low, and he got it up in a situation where I had a possibility going over. Again, it was a double hit by Neumann University, but still, the fact that that was even a possibility was very impressive.
That's just part of that great promise that Neumann shows. Coming into these future years, again, you're a young program. If your head coach, Joan Braid, who's in his 2nd season as head coach of this Neumann Knight squad, you have to be more than excited. You're part of the grassroots movement to get a men's volleyball program at Neumann. And you have good players on this squad. You have those building blocks you can build around in the coming years. So, despite being down 90-11, Neumann showing great promise. That spike down by number 11, Ryan Bollinger, goes into the net. So another point on the board for Southern Virginia. Another error on the attack by the Neumann Knights.
Just a little bit slow on his approach there, and therefore got it where it was on the way down instead of on the way up.
Aina got down for that dig. Came off the hands of number 9, Kyle Slinkman, right off the serve from Stapley. So Knights caught off guard by that one. Slinkman's bump falling into Knight's side of the court, and I guess Southern Virginia, Daniel Aina, not prepared for that one.
No, there's just some slight miscommunication there, and that's what you see it all the time in volleyball games, or at least you hope not to see it, is when there's a ball in the air, there's someone right there, but they think someone else is going to get it, but they don't communicate that, and they just fall straight to the ground.
Getting started again with the Neumann Knights. This is number 14, Zach Strickland, back to serve. Another point on the board for the Neumann Knights after another error by Southern Virginia on that one.
And Daniel Ayin, I can't believe that he did that. He covered his mouth, looked at the sideline, and said, I don't know what happened there. That's usually automatic for him to get those digs.
Again, we mentioned it before, Aina top 30 in the country for digs per set. So when it doesn't fall for him, he doesn't have a bad attitude about it. He's all fun and games, like on the last one, smiling and just looking at Tom Peters saying, hey, I know what I did. I'll get the next one. You know what I can do.
And then Bennett Canlin getting his first points in a men's volleyball uniform just then, making it 21-13.
The Neumann Knights not able to get to that one. Number 11, Bollinger, on his way to get that ball, running into the sideline official.
And the set was just a little bit too far and not quite high enough, and so just made an awkward situation for number 11, Ryan Bollinger.
Block is wide, point Neumann.
Hit by number 13, Roddy Roundtree, into the hands of several Knights, but that block falling out of bounds. So Neumann picks up another point, now 14-22. And now Bollinger back to serve again. That one goes to the net, so another service ace for Neumann. It brings their service errors so far, or service error instead of service ace. They have 6 service errors so far tonight, compared to the Knights' 8.
Yeah, I mean, both teams kind of struggling with that to some extent. I mean, most of the Knights' service errors have been too far, whereas most of Neumann Universities have been too short.
That serve from Capisi finding the back corner, so Christian Capisi picking up a service ace of his own. We mentioned the 8 service errors for Southern Virginia. We failed to mention the 10 service aces that Southern Virginia has managed to rack up in the process of tonight.
And that was probably one of the most impressive. It was right along that right side on your screen. You see where the line judge is, and in the back side. So that perfect corner placement that nobody would really think would stay in.
And that one from Capisi right into the net. So had a service ace on one side, then you respond back with a service error. So both high and low, both sides of the mountain faced by Christian Capisi. Service too short by number 2, Jules Moriano. So Southern Virginia takes the second set off a service error from Moriano. Now be looking into the third and hopefully final set for this Southern Virginia team, Dawson.
Yeah, and again, they've just been doing some great work. And although I do like the last serve from the Neumann Knights, it was very, very short, just barely too short, but it would have just dropped barely over. But again, I like the effort the Neumann Knights are putting forth, but SVU just doing a great job overall, especially not having their starters in today.
Great insight, Dawson. And with that, we'll take a short break between the second and third set. We thank you so much for joining us on the Knights Sports Network, and we'll bring you back as hopefully the third and final set gets underway and the action starts.
Another reminder, get your Brave News t-shirts, $15. Support the Brave News Scholarship Fund. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m., we'll be wearing our shirts, supporting our past teammate, Brave News.
We welcome you back to the Night Arena as our coverage of SVU men's volleyball continues as Southern Virginia now leads the Neumann Knights 2-0 heading into the third set, Dawson.
Yeah, we mentioned before, if you're just joining us, the Knights opting to play a lot of their younger players today, giving them some of these players their first ever start in an NCAA men's volleyball match, and they're doing a pretty good job so far. I mean, we mentioned them being up 2-0, and we have people like Cooper Anderson having 5 kills, Mark Stapley having 4, Taylor Bowers having 4, and some players having their firsts today. I mean, we saw Christian Capisi get in for the first time, get his first points of the season because due to injury, as we've mentioned. And Tyler McCready, Bennett Canlin, basketball player, crossover players coming in, getting their first points and blocks in men's volleyball uniforms. And so just a great night overall for everybody involved.
And Dawson, it's a testament to the depth that Tom Peterson and the Southern Virginia squad have at their disposal to take out your starters, your nationally acclaimed players, Rekha Barn, Cougar Clark, Mitch Usvich, Colby Wilson, the like, and put in the guys that don't maybe get as much playing time this season, and to see the level of dropouts, which is basically second to none. There's really no drop-off right now that we've seen. You have that at your disposal heading into more difficult games in tournament time. Just a great asset for your team to have. And really exciting if you're a Southern Virginia Knights fan.
And I think situations like this really build team unity. We've mentioned the starters on the bench cheering on their teammates. But I mean, it gets everybody excited about the game. It gives everybody an opportunity to be involved, to have a memory of the season, to do something that builds you as a player, builds you as a teammate. And it's just a great opportunity for Coach Peterson to get these players to have that unity overall.
Unity coming to effect. There is Knights teaming that one up. That's Elijah Maurer and Andrew Fenua getting their hands up to put a block down for Southern Virginia. Now back to serve. This is number 6, Taylor Bowers, the sophomore from Portland, Oregon, having himself a game today, second in his team, or rather third on his team, 4 kills right now. The person leading the team in kills, we just saw there, Mark Stapley putting another one to his name. Mark Stapley now has 6.
And again, you talk about Taylor Bowers. He's also been able to complete 2 pin plays today. I mentioned before, plays that SVU likes to run a lot. He's done them twice successfully, and along with those other kills that you've mentioned.
Stapley not able to save that one. Just came off the hands of Andrew Fenua. Just a little bit funny on that night attack. So point goes down for the Neumann Knights. And back to serve will be number 9, Kyle Slinkman.
Tell you what, that would have been a very impressive hit if you were able to get that over, because that was a very small angle to have to hit over to avoid hitting that pole, which signifies out of bounds.
Elijah Maurer picking up that point for Southern Virginia. Just came off the fingertips of number 14, Zach Strickland of Neumann. So Southern Virginia picks up a point there. Much really to the disbelief of Neumann number 2, Jules Moriano, who's covering his face there. Didn't believe in that call by the line judge.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation because that one went really high. It really flew off of number 32, Elijah Maurer's hands, very high up. And so he had a hard time believing that his teammates were able to get up that high, but apparently one of them did.
Elijah Maurer bringing out the fancy play there. Went up with his right hand, but elected to go up with the left. And we'll just call that hitting violation by number 14, Zach Strickland, on that last play. But what a play by Elijah Maurer to have the guts to be able to attempt that in this game.
I mean, that was incredibly impressive. To have the concentration, have the form, like going up with the right hand and just simply tap it with your left. I mean, that's, my goodness.
Be another attack for Neumann. Night attack now. DC hitting that one over. Now Neumann with an opportunity. That blocked down by a host of Knights. Capisi and Maurer getting a hand on that one, but it'll fall out of bounds. Neumann picks up their second point of this third set. Southern Virginia now leads 6-2 over top of Neumann, and back to serve for them, number 5, Connor Kulick.
Yeah, they just went off of Chris Capisi's hands, just a little bit off to the right side. Good to get up there and get in that lane overall, but again, just hitting off the side.
Be a double hit against Southern Virginia, so Neumann picks up another point on the scorecard. Bring it 3-6. That's served by Kulick far too long, so Southern Virginia gets the ball back. They lead 7-3 over top of Neumann. first night serve we've seen in a while. It'll be Mark Stapley, the sophomore from California.
And we've seen a couple of attack errors from both teams in the past couple of plays. And so that brings us to that both teams are pretty even in that category. The Knights of Neumann University have 11 attack errors, whereas the SVU Knights have 10. So very close to the margin there.
Dawson, the only difference with those numbers is the number of attacks per team. Southern Virginia has 48 attacks on the night compared to Newman's 37. So Knights having 10 more total attacks and be able to have the same amount of errors as a team with less attacks than you just shows you the precision that this team plays with. Mark Stapley. Too far over the net for Elijah Mowry's liking, able to spike that one back down and put a point on the scorecard for Southern Virginia.
That serve was with authority. Goodness, it was a thunderous noise in here. And it's so hard to handle that because either you hit it straight up and it goes straight into the ceiling and straight back down, or you hit it at an angle and it goes back over for an easy point for the team. It's a tough situation for anyone digging that.
Point to go to Southern Virginia is number 15 of Neumann, Eric Van Horn. Hit that one into the net. So Mark Stapley back to serve for what I believe is the 4th time. And Stapley on his 4th serve behind the line picks up another service ace for Southern Virginia, bringing their total now to 11 service aces on tonight.
And a lot of it has been a combination of both serving power from SVU as well as just the inability to return some of these serves on the part of Neumann University. Just because, again, of how difficult and how well placed these serves are from SVU.
It's a serve for Neumann. Number 12, Nick Shortledge.
Dawson, 6 different players for the Southern Virginia team picking up service aces in this one. Stapley has 2, Bowers 3, and Colton Wilson also having 3. They really haven't seen him basically since the 2nd set.
And speaking of serving, number 12, Nick Shortledge of Neumann University has really struggled tonight as far as serving is concerned. He's probably been able to get any of them over the net. It's just been quite the struggle for him.
And Dawson, it's really weird to see because Nick Shortledge picked up the first service ace for Neumann in this game. To see him come from his first time at the line, picking up a service ace, to his productivity now from behind the line, it's basically a tale of two cities in that aspect. It'd be a double hit against Southern Virginia on that last play. So we talk about the errors of the Neumann Knights. Didn't talk about errors of the Southern Virginia Knights, but they just picked up there.
Yeah, Tyler McCready misjudged where that ball was going to go in at the last second. Had to put his hands out to get it. Accidentally had the double hit there.
Be back to serve for Neumann. This is number 14, Zach Strickland. PC hitting that one too far. Just long for Southern Virginia, and Neumann brings it up to a 6-point game. Strickland serve into the net.
And number 2, Jules Mariano, almost getting hit on the head again. Very close to him.
Now back to serve for Southern Virginia, number 18, Christian Capisi. Served by Capisi, too far. And Dawson, seems like every time we mention the class of one of these Knights players, it's either sophomore or senior. On the squad for Tom Peterson, you have 5 seniors. You have no freshmen on the squad. You only have a handful of juniors. Maybe you have 3 juniors. 5 seniors, 3 juniors, and a plethora of sophomores. So you have to think, you've got these players, these sophomores, like Christian Capisi, like we just saw, and Cooper Anderson, for a number of more years, at least 3 more. So you're losing some great seniors, but in their stead are coming these great young players. Just saw Cooper Anderson diving through that one, trying to get a hand on it. And was able to get his hand underneath it, but just unfortunately couldn't get it up and get it to his team.
And most people look at that roster, like you said, no freshmen, and people would kind of worry a little bit. But then you mentioned all of the sophomores that this team has. And even if SVU were able to get even a couple freshmen for this next season, they would still have a lot of talent, a lot of great leadership, too, that have a lot of experience at that point. And so really nothing to worry about as far as recruiting or as up-and-coming teams are concerned.
You have 7 sophomores on this Knight squad, 3 juniors and 5 seniors. And there's the sophomore making his name known. Mark Stapley puts another one down for Southern Virginia. And Mark Stapley, not one of those players that doesn't find his way into the court as much. One of the steady starters for this Southern Virginia team. Interesting to see Coach Tom Peterson putting him in there, maybe just to keep a leadership aspect and keep that captain out there, because he's going to be with this team for a number of years to come.
And you saw that first serve from Tyler McCready, the basketball-turned-men's volleyball player, and how the players here on the bench reacted of him getting it over the net. They were very happy to see that. And again, both him and Bennett Canlett's first year as men's volleyball players.
Andrew Fanua able to put that one down for Southern Virginia. Fake like he was going to set it to one of the outside hitters, whether Elijah Mowry or Mark Stapley. Instead, putting it down for himself. And after that, he'll be sent behind the line for service for Southern Virginia. They're up 16-10 over top of Neumann. That's hit over number 5, Kulik, just too far for Neumann. Point Southern Virginia, and Fanua will be back to serve for a second time in a row. Great serve by Andrew Fanua.
Got a great volley building up here, or I guess a great rally, I should say.
Both teams go for it. You saw number 9, Kyle Slinkman, trying to take that one in stride and spike it back over to surprise the Southern Virginia squad. Not able to get his hand on that one, so point goes to Southern Virginia, and Bennett Canlin will check in for this Southern Virginia squad.
And again, it's more miscommunication from the Neumann Knights, and in that situation, that's not one you want to go up and spike. It's the first hit over. You want to set up a play there, but instead, number 9, Kyle Slinkman was looking for the kill shot.
Too many hits on the side of Neumann. Point goes up for Southern Virginia. Andrew Fanua seems like he's just been to the line for an eternity so far. Back to serve again for Southern Virginia as down they lead 19-10 over top of Neumann. And Dawson Fanua, not known as a server, but so far tonight, he's had a booming time behind the line for service for Southern Virginia.
Oh, it's just beautiful form, great power behind it. And like you said, just beautiful form from Andrew Fanua.
And with that Knights error on that attack, the reign of Andrew Fanua's service will be over, and now we'll see Kulik of Neumann Knights. Great dig by Cooper Anderson. That one will just fall out of bounds for Southern Virginia. But great work by the sophomore from Church, Texas to risk his body and put it on the line to try to get to that one.
And the slight communication between Daniel Aina and Cooper Anderson almost worked out for them getting that set up. Christian trying to kick that one. It was right near us. I was afraid it's going to come off his foot and hit me right in the face.
I was prepared to catch it, but then Christian Capisi put that size 15 boot on it. I wanted no parts of that ball. Back to serve number 5, Connor Kulik of the Neumann Knights. You know, Dawson, when I signed up to be a broadcaster, no one said it was going to be dangerous.
I remember that situations like that before, pregame, before basketball. A ball came up flying in my head, and somehow an instant came and I hit it away, and that time, my goodness.
Must have been in the fine print. Now back to this game. Back to serve number 4, Mark Stapley.
There's no waivers at all. What is this?
Blocked back down. Christian Capisi making his name known again in this game. Knights now lead 21-13 over top of the Neumann Knights, and very close to closing out this third set and taking this match home with a W.
We're hearing the bench for SVU shouting Christian Capisi's nickname, Rufio. Remember the character from the movie Hook with Robin Williams.
That one to fall out of bounds off the hands of, I believe that was number 11, Bollinger. So another point goes on the board for Southern Virginia. And Mark Stapley back to serve again for the Knights of SVU. Stapley so far 2 service aces, not able to get one there, but here comes the Knights attack. Tip back over by Cooper Anderson. The Neumann Knights will say that didn't go far enough over.
Zach Strickland just barely underestimated how hard he had to hit that one. It was a great recovery by number 5, Connor Kolek, to dig that. I mean, it was very high up on him, and to get it up in the air was very impressive.
Another service ace for Mark Stapley. So Mark Stapley now has 3 service aces on the night, and the Knights bring their total up to 12 service aces compared to 11 service errors. And Mark Stapley on his 4th consecutive time behind the line. He'll have an opportunity at match point here for Southern Virginia.
Well, a lot of those service aces have everything to do with the Knights of Neumann University not able to handle the power from SVU's serves.
Cooper Anderson finishes it off for Southern Virginia right into the arms of number 9, Kyle Slinkman. Nothing Slinkman could do. Cooper Anderson powering that one home. And in the end, the Knights take home the W against the Neumann Knights.
Yeah, and again, just a great job by the Knights team overall. Again, playing with a lot of their young players. Great effort from them.
That'll do it for us here at the Knights Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us here. The Southern Virginia Knights win 3-0 against the Knights of Neumann and bring another W to their win streak. They're now at 9 games in a row. We thank you so much for joining us. Hope you join us tomorrow as the men's volleyball team face off again, looking to bring their streak to 9 games. We thank you so much for joining us, and go Knights.